Is it recording?
I think I did.
You think?
I'm pretty sure I did, but I'm not. Maybe I need to check again
Yeah.
to make sure. Hey, Cody.
Good morning. Good morning. We are here, live and in color, live and direct, here with More Motivation Podcast. Super excited here on this lovely Monday morning. I am the co-host, Troy Christopher Moore. We're here with the founder and the president, Mr. Kendrick Moore. Good morning, Kendrick. How you doing this morning?
Excited, Troy. We just finished up our first season of AAU. Kids did really well. They grew a lot. It could be hard sometimes, with getting kids to understand standards. But man, overall, it was a great season watching the kids develop, learn different things. I tell you, they got to the point, Troy, which impressed me. And it's been happening actually over the past few weeks where we would be at practice. I would kind of act like I'm not really paying attention to what they're going, just to see if they're going to start on their own.
Right.
Like, and literally, like our last few practices, they will get to about a half hour in of practice on their own.
Wow.
Like starting to stretch, doing our 3-man 2-ball shooting, going over the offensive sets, going over the out of bounds plays, going over defensive rotations, 4 versus 3 scramble. So, man, and so when you talk about the growth and development, and when we talk about leadership, man, they did an amazing job with that.
Man, it's great to see that, man, with the young people, man. Shout out to the young people in the AAU basketball team, man. So, before we even get to our shout out this week, we have a third person here.
Oh, she's back.
Third person here that was kind of hiding in the shadows. And didn't want to say anything. So, Crudy, you want to say good morning to the people?
Good morning, everyone. I hope you all are doing well on a Monday morning. Happy Memorial Day. So hope everyone's enjoying their long weekend.
Yeah.
Excited to be here on the podcast. It's always fun to join you guys. So thanks for having me.
Awesome.
And the thing is, Crudy, I'm
about to go.
This your last week in town. Crudy out of here this weekend, moving to New York. Oh, man.
Yeah. So if anyone's in New York City, send me a message.
Wow. Like New York only got like 100 people. If you're in New York, you ain't doing anything, hit Crudy up.
If you're in Manhattan, to be specific.
New York, man. Wow, man. As you can see here, More Motivation, man. It's early, so we getting some giggles out this morning, man. But it's just a beautiful thing for us to be in person, man. So super shout out to that. So let's get into this week's shout out.
Yeah.
Man. Let's talk about this week's shout out.
Yeah, so I want to give a huge shout out, and I don't know if we mentioned it before, to my nephew, my main man.
Wow.
Seth Sweezy, S. Dot. We say it's like, right, more than the game. It's more than the graduation. He graduated from college, and just being able to navigate that journey. And I'm probably going to take a little time here just because that's my guy, man. It was literally like his senior year. I remember talking to him like, yo, what you going to do? He was talking about he want to be a YouTube guy. I said, yo, Sweezy, not my boy.
Oh, my God.
Not my boy. Man. Come on, we got to come up with a plan, man. Like, what we doing? And he made a promise to grandma that he was going to go to college, to mama that he was going to go to college, man. He went and knocked that thing out. Been doing internships, graduated near the top of his class, got a return offer. So he's all set with a job, like just handling his business, man, like he should. And I want to say this too, because, it's a story, Troy, you brought to my attention, the other day, when we talk about these journeys.
Right.
And then we talk about also like the state of the teaching environments today.
Yeah.
They talk about budget cuts and people being cut, and as it's an awful thing. We need our teachers. But this is what I do want to say, because there are just some people that just don't belong in those buildings, though.
That's correct.
You know, because when
correct.
you're a teacher at a certain age of a young person and you're telling a Seth Sweezy that he ain't even gonna finish high school,
Yeah, it's crazy.
like that's a problem.
It's crazy.
You know, when you're an educator,
Right.
you know, when you're at a higher level administrator saying the same thing, that's an issue.
Right.
You know, so you know, budget cuts are we don't want that, but not everybody belongs in those buildings.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, when we talk about inspiring, providing hope for our kids, so that's they didn't know what type of team he had around him, though. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
They
He had an all-star lineup.
they don't know that. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? They don't
Right.
know what his group looked like. You know
That's
what I'm saying?
correct.
So we got to be really, really careful with that, man. But my man Seth Sweezy, he's the guy.
Congrats,
Man.
Seth.
Awesome, man. And just to add to that, Kendra, because it talks about, and we're going to move right into the feedback from the podcast from
Yep.
last week
Yep.
of, you said the team that he had around him,
Mm-hmm.
right? And what that instantly made me think about that there are so many kids that do not have that
Yeah.
team.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
That could have been the graduate, could have been the top of the class, but they didn't have the support. So now, as we kind of move that way, let's talk about the feedback that we got from last week's podcast.
Yep. And hold on, Troy. But but what you just said, though, man?
Yeah.
Can you imagine the kid that didn't have that support, that was looking for that word of encouragement?
Right. Correct.
But that
Correct.
teacher, administrator told them just the opposite,
Right.
or they told them the thing that they were already feeling, maybe some of the words they were getting from home that, man, I'm not going to do anything,
Right.
you know?
Yeah.
And they're going to a space looking for that extra encouragement, like, no, you can do this. So, got to be, man, listen, words are powerful.
Yeah, they are.
And when you're in a certain space, like it's your duty, no matter how you're feeling, like to use the correct words, man. So no, man, and like you said, it goes right into what we're talking about, what our feedback was of our podcast last week, because we talked about how certain schools are building areas of comfort and not confidence.
Right.
They're building students who appear to be confident on the outside, but are really fragile on the inside.
Yeah.
So, man, listen, this is a national topic.
Yeah, it is.
You know, it's a national thing going on. And again, with some of the feedback, my man Mike, I shout him out all the time because he give me some other type feedback. My man Mike was like, look, you need to, he said, you need to hold a workshop on this topic and charge parents to attend.
I agree.
You know, because people need to know about what's going on.
Yeah.
You know, the state of affairs that we're in. You know,
Yeah.
so that's my guy Mike. He done threw some gems at us so many times after listening to these podcasts. But yeah, it's a powerful topic. And so we see that some of that stuff still exists.
It still exists.
Still exists,
Still
yep.
exists. Wow, man. So now, here we are.
Here we are.
Here we are. Ready for this
Yeah.
week's podcast. Man,
Yep.
we are ready to go, though.
Yep.
Ready. Crudy, I hope you're ready, Crudy.
I'm ready.
Okay, I hope you're ready. So,
Yep.
Kendrick, lead us into this week's podcast and
Yep.
where we're going with it.
Yep. So obviously we're going to do that round robin format again, but today is going to be very it's going to be very similar to some of the topics we talked about, especially protecting the standard.
Yeah.
But today, where we're going with this, I want you to think about this audience. If somebody mentions your name in a space, like what would they think of you? Right? If somebody just mentions your name in a room, which your name gets mentions in many rooms that you're not in, what will they think of you? So that's kind of the conversation we're going to have today, because when we think about name, reputation, opportunities,
Correct.
like they all align. Your name, the reputation that follows, and opportunities. So that's what we're talking about today. So now we're going to protect your name.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
let's get into these questions.
To it.
So the first question we have is, what does protect your name actually mean to you?
I think what I would like to say is protect your name means that you've created the person that when people hear your name, they know exactly what you're getting, what they're getting. You know what I'm saying? Like when people hear Cruty, when they hear Troy, when they hear Kendrick, they know exactly what they're getting. Like, and for us, you know what I'm saying? We want to build people of integrity. I want them to feel like I'm somebody they can trust. I think that's the biggest part of it, but that's really about understanding that, like with consistency.
Yeah.
Right? You've shown consistency over time, so when people hear your name, they know exactly what they're getting.
Wow. So what does protect your name actually mean to you? I would say it's 2 words come to mind: identity and character. Right? Whenever you get pulled over by the police, they ask for your identification. Your identification tells them who you are.
Yep.
Right? So that's what your name is.
Right,
It
right.
tells people who you are. Right? And even if your name get caught up in some stuff that, you know, it probably shouldn't get caught off, if people understand and they know your character,
Yep.
they'll be like, nah, man.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
I know you said this about this person, but nah, not that name.
That don't align.
Nah,
Right.
that don't work with them, man. You know, somebody
Right.
been duped.
Right.
Right.
Because
Right.
that don't work, right? So to me, what really comes out is character and identity.
I think both of those are great answers and how I would describe it. I feel like for this, I don't have like a description of it. I feel like I have an example of what this means to me. It's like
Okay.
protecting my name is if someone goes and says, if my mom is just placed into any room where they're mentioning my name or they're talking about my name, it's something that she would want to hear about me. Or it's like my name is being used in a description or a setting, or it's being mentioned in a way that she would be proud.
Right.
So that very much dictates what I do every single day, the actions I take, who I associate myself with, so that if my mom was placed into any room where my name is being mentioned, she would be comfortable and proud of hearing it, not like, what is this about?
And that's a very important thing. So when you say proud, you're saying like you've created the thing where, because your name is either opening doors or closing them
Correct.
when you're not around.
Correct.
When you're not, forget about your actual presence.
Correct.
And for that situation, the opening of the door is kind of like your mom being proud of
Yeah.
you. You know what I'm saying? So
Correct.
that's an important thing to understand. Like, and that's with everybody.
Yeah.
Like your name
Yeah.
is either, open doors or quietly closing
Yeah.
them based on, your reputation. All right. So question number 2. So Troy, this one will go to you first.
Yeah.
When did you realize reputation is currency?
Man.
When did you realize reputation was currency?
So when you're talking about currency, you're talking about, money, wealth, value. Your reputation is really kind of all you have, right? You just said something that was very powerful, that your name either opens doors or it closes doors, right? Once you establish a reputation, a lot of times you don't even have to open your mouth. You just step into a space and it could be 100 people.
Yep.
That person right there, that's the one, because they have a reputation of X, Y, Z. That's what we're looking for. And that can also put you in a position where now you're being promoted in jobs.
Right.
You're getting scholarships, in college and those type of things, advancing. So once you start to position yourself in regards to protecting your name, your reputation will open doors that will bring value to your life.
Yeah. For me, this really clicked in high school, my junior year. I still remember the first time that Mr. Moore provided the opportunity to join these different statewide boards and then having the opportunity to present at a national level. And then after those few events, like realizing I was just being placed into these opportunities and placed into these rooms without me even saying anything or doing anything, but just because people had associated my name with this reputation of someone who is a great communicator, who's organized, who's a leader, and that was just transpiring into me being able to enter these rooms because people were willing to say like, oh, you're talking about X, Y, and Z. Crew T is a great person for that. And that's when I realized like my reputation and what my name stands for is going to be the biggest thing I can ever have. And that's what's going to open doors for me because a mentor said this to me in college. It's like promotions don't happen when you're in the room. Promotions happen when like someone else knows your name and is able to put your name forward
That is correct.
when an opportunity is presented.
That's correct.
So that really just shows like
Yeah.
me understanding that reputation is currency.
Yeah. I think for me it happened when I you change the groups of people that you're around. And when you start hanging around or being around more influential people with a little more power, if you want to say decision-making power,
Yeah.
I realized it then with how quickly like they'll lose trust in someone.
Yeah.
Because people without decision-making power or they'll hang around for forever. Let you make money. All right, they'll deal with. But when you start leaving those groups and moving up the ladder, like the people, because they don't have time for it.
Yeah.
They don't have time for you being late. They don't have time for all of the mistakes. They don't have time for hearing your name associated with a bunch of different things that don't align with what they want.
Right.
So I think that was when it really clicked, because now the reputation means something totally different to your everyday peers versus those that really like they're counting on that reputation to stand. They're not going to put up with nothing less than what they heard. Because if you don't live up to it, those doors that start slowly closing. So that was one of the first times I think that, it really started to click like, hold on a second, like my reputation matters.
Right.
Yep.
Wow. All right, so here's we go with this question here. All right, Crudy, so I'm going to throw this at you. What destroys a person's name the fastest?
What I believe destroys a person's name the fastest is when that individual acts differently and carries themselves differently in different situations, because you never want a discrepancy in your character based on what room you're in or who you're interacting with. An example of what I mean by that is I always want myself to be thought of as someone who's kind and caring and respects everyone. The easiest way to destroy that reputation is if I'm kind and caring to people who I know can provide something to me or who I want something from. But if I see a custodian at USC, I'm disrespectful to them. I think that's the easiest way for someone's name and reputation to be destroyed, because if you're someone who's committed, you should be committed in all settings. If you're someone who's able to be resilient, you should be resilient in all settings. So I think your character should transpire wherever you go. And if there's discrepancies, that's the worst thing, because word always gets around. People always talk. It's a small world. So if you're going to not carry your character and your reputation everywhere, it's going to get back to you and come to bite you.
Wow.
Do you have insights?
I'm going back and forth with this because I'm thinking like, okay, and I want to stay away from it, but it keeps creeping into my brain like miserable people.
Yeah.
It keeps creeping. I'm trying to think of something a little more philosophical. But
miserable people.
Some people, they're dangerous. They're dangerous to give information to be around you. Some of them are the people that are close to you, that know a lot about you. Because when you start feeding them information, when you start doing good, if they just don't naturally have good intent, like they will intentionally ruin your name.
Right.
And it could be around, as I said, people that matter, people that make decisions. But that's what I said. Like some of these things, man, that's where you got to stand true to who you are. I think about, again, we talked about the situation before, Troy, with the sit still. It's like, you gotta just stand on your character. Like, no, I know what I'm about. And when you, that's the thing about it too, Troy. When you're that comfortable and confident with the person that you are, you don't even have to defend yourself.
Yeah.
It may not be the thing that you really want to do, and it doesn't feel good because our first initial thing is to protect our name, You don't even have to. You don't have to. And from the outside, people might see like, they might just think you're in the wrong because you not like, why isn't he saying nothing? You know what I'm saying? Like, why isn't he?
Right.
But you just so comfortable with the person that you are, things gonna take care of themselves. But miserable, some people, they're seeking to do harm and damage to others. So I'll just stay there with that.
Wow. So for me, what destroys a person's name the fastest is when they rely on their title versus their name. Right? Your title is what you are becoming. Right? I want to be a doctor, so I go to school for 12 years to become that. Your name is who you are. Right? And sometimes individuals get to a certain plateau because they've received this achievement of whatever title they are. They forget their name.
Right.
Right. And in doing that, you lose yourself because your name is you. That's your identity. That's your character. That's who you are. So I think when we start to really, and there's nothing wrong with titles. Don't get me wrong. There's nothing wrong with them. But it's when we start to promote that over our name, that's when it can become an issue.
Before I ask the next question, I just want to add one more thing. I also believe who you hang around can destroy your name faster than anything else. Because if the people you're around are associated with a certain reputation or a certain idea of who they are, and you're with that group, before someone even gets to know who you are, they're just going to make a generalization because you're hanging out with those people. And that ties into that conversation of picking who you're around very wisely, so that your name doesn't get destroyed because of the people you decide to be in the company of.
No, simple things. You sit in the back of the classroom with people that's talking, even though you quiet.
Right.
You got an option to choose another seat.
Right.
You hanging out with people that drink. Oh no, you drink. No, I don't. But you hanging out with them all the time. What is it that you got in common with them?
Right.
So no, you're exactly right, Cruci. That was a good one. Yeah.
Wow.
Awesome. Next question. Have you ever had to rebuild your name?
Yes. So plenty of times, and I wouldn't.
Guys, sorry.
Oh, this is wow. And I wouldn't say it was nothing where I damaged my name so much where I fell off when nobody believes me. I'm not talking about like that, but sometimes, you have really good intentions of the things that you do. Sometimes it doesn't always land the right way, right? Sometimes the impact on the people ain't always what you want it to be. It may come across the wrong way. And then there is some type of repair sometimes, just maybe in the form of an apology, because you are on your side feedback loop, right? You're delivering the information, you're providing this service, you're doing whatever, but they're the one being impacted by it. So, when your intentions and impact don't really match up all the time, even if it's not meant to be that way, sometimes it can come off the wrong way. So there's been plenty of times where, that it didn't go the right way. So I had to kind of somehow make up for it to make sure that I'm in good standing.
Right. I think when individuals make poor decisions, right, especially when you build your esteem to a certain point, right? And we all make mistakes. It's just life, right? But when we start to repeat those mistakes, it's like, okay, now I got to rebuild my character, rebuild my name to get me back to this place, right? Because that old saying is if you do it once, it's a mistake. If you do it twice, it's a choice, right? Like, we should have learned from the first time so we don't mess our name up or put our name in a position where it can be attached to something that is really not who we are.
Right.
Yep.
Right. So we got to be very careful with those particular things and making those poor decisions, because that's when we have to position ourselves to rebuild our name.
I would say the first time I ever had to rebuild my name was when I got to USC, because I'd built up this reputation of who I was, my identity, being this smart, like, person who was doing these speaking engagements, leader in Connecticut, and that was my reputation. But going to USC, there was no one there who'd known that. Like, I was going into a space where people did not know my past accomplishments, and I couldn't expect to rely on my past accomplishments there. I had to start from scratch and prove to everyone, like, I am this leader, I am this committed person, I'm hardworking, I'm someone you should be confident putting forward for these different opportunities that come in front of your face. So definitely having to do that. And that also taught me that every space I enter in my life where I'm going to do something new, I'm going to have to rebuild my name, because I can't expect people to rely on this, oh, what have you done in the past? I have to think about what are they going to judge me on based on what I do every day, especially going into my internship in a week and a half. It's like, these people are not going to judge me based off of what I've done at USC or in high school. They are going to be judging me off of what they're seeing for 10 weeks, and I have to rebuild my name and what they think about when they hear, oh, Kruti, let's talk about her. Like, what does everyone think about when that name is mentioned? So I feel like rebuilding and for some people, that's a good thing, right? Like, we make mistakes in life. Sometimes there are times where we may have mess ups, circumstances that happen, and it's great that there's opportunities for you to go into new spaces and rebuild your name and make it an identity that you're truly proud of.
And I think what a lot of you talking about, Kruti, is really, just being consistently the way your journey has been, building your name. Like, okay, they don't know me. They heard my name. They won't know me from Adam. You know what I'm saying? So now I gotta start this whole thing all over again with being on time, doing the extra work, because they have no clue of it. So no, that's good stuff. That's good stuff. So, all right. So Troy, here's the last regular question here. Why do people underestimate how small actions follow them? So why do people underestimate how small actions follow them?
Wow. I think what we do as people is, and I kind of equate it to like a high school kid going to college. One of the things that a lot of high school students do when they're prepping in regards to, scholarships and those type of things, they're always looking for the $20,000-$30,000 scholarships, right? Instead of getting $10, $15, $500 scholarships, right? So that's a small thing, but they underestimate it because they're always looking for the big thing, right? So in regards to us, we just have to make sure that we appreciate those small things, not underestimate those things, but appreciate those, because you can build more on smaller things, right? Instead of trying to just get this one grand thing that's probably going to just take so much energy and exertion out of you, that you can build yourself in a higher place by appreciating those small actions.
I'm probably the biggest critic of my own generation. So I want to say the standards have just been, honestly, they've just been lowered for my generation. If in college, I heard like, oh, professors would close the doors, like lock the doors back in the day. Like if you didn't come on time and like you couldn't enter the class, like there's just so many accommodations for being late. Like, oh, it's okay, 5 minutes, like things happen. We want to accommodate that. Oh, you can submit, if you miss your homework deadline, you can submit it a week late and still get 75%, but you'll just have a 25% penalty. So there's just these accommodations for small actions where students feel like, oh, it's okay. Like, I can still walk into class 5 minutes late and my professor won't penalize me, or I can submit my homework late and it's only a 25% penalty. And they neglect that, and then it comes to like your job. And they think, oh, I can show up 5 minutes late to work and like, it'll be fine. No, it won't. Your boss does not care what's going on. If you're supposed to show up at 9, that means you're supposed to be there at 8:50.
1,000%.
Like, oh, I can submit this deadline a little bit later. It's okay. My boss won't mind. No, if the deadline's May 22nd at 5 p.m., it means it's May 22nd at 5 p.m. So the standards have just been lowered. And again, it's short-term gratification. Like, this is convenient for me now. But in the long term, it just comes to bite you, and like it does not help you have success.
Wow.
I think an important thing to realize with this question is how small the world is. I think we think because it's this, we look at it just physically, like it's a big world, but it's very small once you start navigating it for this reason right here. Communication. Like, people talk to each other. So you don't pay attention to the fact that the environments and spaces that you enter, they're not disconnected. So your jobs, your leadership spaces, your programs that you might enter, like, they're connected because the people that are involved, they communicate with each other.
Yeah.
So you can't be in one space and be lazy and go to another space and expect your reputation to be, to have the reputation of somebody that works hard before you get there, because your name got there way before you showed up because the person knew me and they told me you was lazy. So I think people don't really realize how small the world is due to communication.
That's right.
One day I was over at Hartford High, Troy, and this guy, he had on all of this Knicks uniform. This is between the conference finals and, when they beat whoever they beat, the Sixers. He had on all this. So I was just like, man, are you a Knicks fan? He said to me, Troy, he said, hey, man, everybody know who you are, so I respect your opinion. I'm like, what? I'm like, okay. As you was you a Knicks fan, so he knew who I was, the leadership stuff, basketball. So it was like he saw me as this professional in the basketball here. Like, so I, okay, like, just little things like that.
Yeah.
Like, like, so we got to make sure we pay attention to that and understand, like, the world is connected through communication. All of the environments you enter, like, these people know each other.
Yeah.
So you got to make sure you're paying attention. Don't underestimate it.
Wow. Wow. So we're going to get ready to conclude here. And it's been a wonderful conversation. It's going back and forth here. We talk about name. So I'm going to share this and go right into this question, Kendrick. Right? We talk about name, reputation, right? For our listeners, right? Give you a homework assignment. Let me know if you've ever seen a Rolls-Royce commercial, a Maybach commercial, a Bugatti commercial. Let me know if you've ever seen those, right? The answer is no. Those particular cars don't have to advertise their name. They know their value. Right? So they don't have to market. They don't have to do that. They already know there's only a certain amount of people that can afford us. So we don't have to advertise. So when we understand our name and our value, we don't have to be putting all this crazy stuff on social media and all this other type of stuff. We should just set a standard with our name and attract people that have the same value as us.
Oh my God.
Right? So now, Kendrick, I want to go right into this conclusion.
Yep. Let me just say this, Troy, because that's powerful, and it leads me to something. Kruti and I was listening to, what the podcast the other day, and Mace was talking about something just like that, but the opposite. How people they will go above and beyond doing negative stuff
Right.
to get attention.
Right.
They go above and beyond to ruin their name.
Right.
Because that's the thing that seemingly has value today.
Right.
Like we're just in a screwed up world today.
Yeah.
You know, the
Yeah.
things people are doing for that. Like it's, you know, on that social media, the platforms and everything.
Yeah.
People will, that we talk about people intentionally tearing down names. And that's one of the things he was talking about.
Yeah.
Like people with certain platforms, they
Right.
have the ability to tear your name down.
Right.
You know?
Right. Right.
Man, so it's a powerful transition. Yeah, but that value, you are exactly right. That's I'm gonna stop marketing myself, see what happens.
Right.
Who's gonna listen to us?
So now, because we're going to go into this conclusion, right?
Mm-hmm.
That if someone said your name right now,
Mm-hmm.
what would they say?
Listen. And that's the $1 million question. Obviously, it's to me, but it's really for the audience. Like if someone just said your name, and I want to even add to that, and you're not present, you know,
That's key.
what's their response?
That's key.
You know, what is their response? And we can look at it this way, Troy. Is their response different when you're present and when you're not present? You know, is it if it's a different thing, that the different way they act, is it the different emotion that's evoked? Like what actually happens? Like that's an important thing to understand, because that's exactly what we're talking about. Right. Name, reputation, opportunities. Like, and it's so critical to protect your name.
Yeah.
Like said, you know, they threw it out there, and again, the people don't really explain things when they start throwing things. You know, it's the most important asset you have.
Yeah.
You know, your name, and every day you have an opportunity to add to it or take away from it. Every day, and whether it's intentional or not, you are either adding to it or taken away from it. Because at the end of the day, we're not the judges of our own name.
That's correct.
The other people are judging it. You know, it's the standard that they have of it. Like I always tell players this, Troy. Like, it's not that you're not a good player. It's just not what they want. You know, you probably can play Division I, but that coach doesn't need the person that you are.
Right.
You know, the player, that doesn't mean you're not good. You know, the other people get a chance to judge based on their own standard. You know, so I get it. We all want people to smile and laugh and applaud when they hear our name. But what are you doing to control it every day? Yeah. Like, what are you doing every day? And it goes back to just how you're living. Wow. You know, what is your own personal standard? So we appreciate you guys once again. And we're just going to leave it on the table, leave you with that as a part of Troy gave you the first homework assignment. This is the second one. If someone hears your name, what are they saying and thinking? So lock in.
Wow. Powerful. And also, Kendrick, that other piece you threw in there, when you're not present, man, that takes it.
Yeah.
People sometimes they'll just pretend.
You're right.
When they see you.
Right.
Like, oh yeah, he's this.
Right.
But in a room when you're not there, that's
right.
when people will be truthful.
Right.
Man, powerful. Listen, people.
Hold on, Troy, too. I'm sorry, Kruti, because Kruti ready to go. Kruti's saying, this podcast is too long. Okay.
Yeah,
no, but, and too, Troy, when you're not there, and can they uplift you and uphold your name? Just imagine if Kruti and the person that's not there are going after the same opportunity. But that day, the person is not in that particular room with the stakeholders. Is Kruti going to bash the name just because of her own thing? Like, because, they not here now, you know?
Wow.
Like, so
I would never do that to my
No,
competition.
Kruti won't do that, but because of their own interests.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? The people have their own interests. Oh, man, listen. We're coming back in part 2 one day. I'm sorry, Troy. You can close it out.
I'm about to say, that's a whole other podcast right there, man. But wow. Listen, listeners, Man, we're so grateful that you have come to share with us on this week, man. Check us out on all the platforms that we have. We're going to be sending this out, social media, as always. We want to hear from you. We want your feedback, man, because that's what we utilize to actually come up with other podcasts in the future.
Right.
So thank you once again from all of us here at More Motivation. We love you. Have a marvelous week.
I just want to thank my son, Kenrick Moore, for dedicating his life to helping our youth. I know it's a tough task, but keep up the good work with Moore Basketball Clinic. I'm proud of the man you have become. I love you.